was a teenage anarchist looking for revolution. I had the style, I had the ambition, read all the authors, I knew the right slogans. There was a war, but the class war, I was ready to set the world on fire. I was a teenage anarchist looking for revolution. Do you remember when you were young and you wanted to set the world on fire? Do you remember when you were young and you wanted to set the world on fire?
Hey, this is Joel from BlankTV. We're one of the greats today. Motivator, singer, songwriter, lead guitarist, solo artist, and revolutionary. Still a revolutionary? Tom Gabel from Against Me. Tom, it's nice to meet you.
Never been described as motivator. I like that.
Well, it's strong lyrics over a decade, for sure. For sure. I wanted to ask you, in the here and now, you're still fighting the fight, right?
I guess. And what's the fight?
Well, not here. You know, actually, you know, I was almost glued to my screen with what's been going on in the streets of Egypt.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, you know, our demographics, mostly 13 to 17-year-old kids. We have hundreds of thousands of them watching a day, and maybe they're watching it, maybe they're not, you know. But I was really interested in what you have to say about what's going on in the streets.
I mean, my wife's Egyptian, and you know, her whole side of the family, her father's side of the family is you know, over there in Egypt right now, and I know that no one's really been able to get a hold of anybody or anything like that. And so it's definitely, you know, it's crazy watching it all kind of unfold on the on TV or on the internet or whatever, you know, and just kind of feeling very distant and removed from it, you know.
Are they in Cairo?
Uh-huh.
And you haven't heard from anyone, huh?
No.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So it's pretty even more intense.
It's crazy. Well, her father lives in New Orleans, but I mean, all his brothers and all his sisters and mother and father and stuff.
It was surrealistic last night. You know, watching some of that MSNBC coverage. It was just going on nonstop.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a resistance. That's a revolution.
Yeah. Well, and a revolution is kind of a roll of the dice, in that you don't know how it's going to end up.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty crazy.
Is there anything in the case of what happened with Against Me and Warner Brothers that's different? Because that story happens a lot. Record labels restructure, they dump people, and those people were the ones supporting the band. Is there anything more specific that happened with this? Did they fuck up, or?
And I think that, you know, after having like a 5-year-long working relationship with the record label, of course I'm going to have some criticisms. They're going to have criticisms of me as well. You know, that's only natural, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think there's much point in like harping on, well, they screwed that up, you know, or this or that, because it's all minor stuff, and it's just the day-to-day of what happens, you know. I do think that just as a kind of overall looking at their label, having had an experience working with them for a couple records, that there was just a lot of waste happening there, and that it's not any wonder to me that they weren't doing well financially, and that I've now had to put the label up for sale and had to let go of so many people. And I felt like the majority of people that I met who worked there just really didn't seem to have any passion for being in the music industry, that they didn't strike me as the type of people. And I know they weren't the type of people that when you'd go to their house, you'd find a massive vinyl collection and you could sit there and talk about records all night long with them. I mean, most of the people I think weren't very aware of even the lineage that their own record label had with bands that they put out. I think one of my favorite stories from when we first signed to Sire, we did a round of demos for the first album we did with them, was for New Wave. And when we did the demos, we had recorded a cover of the Replacement song "Bastards of Young" for a friend who was putting out a comp. And so when we gave our A&R person the demos, I just accidentally left the cover of "Bastards of Young" on the comp. You know, just whatever, they can listen to it, it doesn't matter, it's going to this comp. So I just left it on the CD when I gave it to him with the demos. And so we're sitting there in the guy's office and we're having a talk, and he's like, you know, I just think "Bastards of Young" is just one of the best songs you've ever written. It's like, everyone just kind of paused and like looked around. It's like, man, that fucking record came out on Sire. That Replacement record was on Sire. You don't know "Bastards of Young"?
Is there a chance back to Fat Records, or is it all the imaginary future?
Probably not back to Fat Records, although I mean we're still doing work with Fat Records. We did records with Fat Records the whole time we were on Sire Records, and we have another kind of collection of B-sides and unreleased material that's coming out probably in the next couple months through Fat.
Great.
But as far as the next full length goes, I don't think so. But at the same time, we don't really know what we're doing at all.
So it's still just things just percolating as far as the next full length begins.
Yeah, I mean, really, all this stuff kind of happened in like November, December, so it's all still fresh to us. And at first, the initial response is to like, oh, we got to figure out what you're doing, and then you're kind of like, well, why not just take it easy and figure it out once we have the songs? Because I mean, I've been writing, but not writing in preparation for going immediately into the studio right now.
So you're writing. Are you putting any songs together, or not quite yet for the new stuff?
Well, we're actually at the end of this tour. We have like a week off before we begin the next tour. We're going out to Dropkick Murphy, excuse me, and we're going to be recording a couple songs at a studio in Madison. For I'm not really sure what. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Maybe a 7-inch or something like that. But yeah, we just have a couple songs that I know that aren't really the direction I want to go with the next full length, but are songs in and of themselves
Sure.
that I want to do something with. So
That's great. Dropkick Murphys. That tour is from February 23rd through March 20th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there'll be some lucky bastards in Boston.
It's like
for St. Patty's Day.
there's like 2 weeks in Boston or something like that. Those guys are like the mayors of Boston.
Exactly. I was at Ken Casey. I think that he will go into politics. Someday.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, he's got the grooming sport for sure. So that's going to be quite exciting though. Down there playing that. Pints of Guinness. You probably have a star-studded cast on stage when you're singing it.
It'll be fun. I'm
Yeah, that's great. Jay is the drummer now.
Yes.
We hope you continue with this tour and through the Dropkick Murphy tour.
Yeah.
And beyond, possibly.
Hopefully. I very much hope so. Yeah.
Have you ever met Bruce Springsteen?
I have.
Okay, I figured through Jay. Do you know he appeared on the new Dropkick record?
I heard that actually.
Yeah.
I was actually listening to the new Dropkick Murphy single "Hang 'Em High" the other
Yeah,
night,
great.
and kind of reading the write up about what's all going on with the record. But it sounds great.
Yeah, you're still playing some of the old songs, some of the stuff from over a decade. Reinventing Axl and Pints of Guinness. So there's an older Tom Grable, a seasoned Tom Grable. Tom Grable who's been through a lot, who's seen a lot.
Sometimes it's to the point where you wish you would have waited to record a song because you figure out after playing it for 2 years on the road that this is a much cooler part to throw in here. I should have done that with the lyrics, and that's just kind of the fun of it. And I mean, I think that when you approach playing songs like that, it makes the music kind of more of a living thing because it changes and it grows, and you have a passion for it still, as opposed to feeling like you're a jukebox and getting up there every night, running through songs where there is no emotion behind it. Because for us, when there's songs that we don't feel like playing anymore because it would feel like we were faking it when we got to get up on stage to play it, we don't play them. Anything we still play in the set list is because we enjoy it.
I think the Energizer song, that's relevant today as it ever was. For your new songs, do you think there may be something that pertains to the current state of affairs? I mean, things are, in my opinion, I think things are quite nastier than they've ever been. Mm-hmm. And you've always been compelled to address them with your words.
Well, it's interesting because it's like I feel like life only gets more complicated as you get older, but at the same time as you get older, you feel like you're less and less sure of what exactly the right answers are. When you're 17 years old, it's really easy to get up there and in the face of everything you see going on, say, fuck it, smash this thing, But when you're 30, you're like, well, maybe that's not the solution to what's happening here, and maybe we need to, maybe there needs to be something else going on, or maybe I'm just not the person who knows any of the answers, and I'm just a guy in a band.
I was a teenage anarchist. Yeah. Who owns the publishing to that song, I Was a Teenage Anarchist?
I do. I've never signed any publishing deals or anything like that.
And the video, is the video property of Warner Brothers, or is that something that Against Me can do with?
At the moment, I believe it's still technically property of Warner Brothers, but it's looking like Warner's just giving us back all of White Crosses and all the things for it, so I'm pretty sure it'll be ours. Fortunate with the last.
I'm sorry, is that gonna?
Hey, Mike.
Okay.
Hey guys, can we? Yeah, cool, thanks.
Do you mind if I ask you that again?
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry.
I might give a different answer.
Any heroes? Well, that's could be the wrong word. But are there any individuals that are in the here and now who are trying to make a difference that you admire or that you've taken notice of? Be they statesmen here or people anywhere in the world?
Well, I think that if you would have asked me that question like 10 years ago, I probably would have given a totally different answer than I would right now. At this point, I find it hard to kind of admire people that I've never met. There's people out there that I have a perception of from the way that they're portrayed in the media, but I don't really know them and I don't know actually what they do. I think that I've been really fortunate with the band in that we've had the opportunity to work with so many different amazing artists, so many different bands and producers and people that I definitely have a real respect for. And I think, Butch Vig, who we made the last 2 records with, is, hands down one of my absolute idols, and I consider him a total mentor as well as a friend, and that's kind of one of those questions you get asked oftentimes in interviews, if there's, any, specifically talking about musicians, if there's any artists out there that you admire, and wish you could emulate or whatever, and really, in all honesty, Butch is my kind of answer for that, and, just seeing the way that not only, the career he's had and the records that he's made, but just his overall approach to just, kind of being a normal fucking person still, and being genuine.
If you could share the stage with any artist or musician, alive or dead, anyone, off the top of your head, could you name a few?
I'd go for the Clash. I want to open for the Clash. It would be a drag though, because it'd be like, oh God, we're opening for the Clash. You'd get up there, you wouldn't feel like you were any good, and then the Clash would come on and blow you away. But nonetheless, I'd want to do it.
Good. You've been through Portland a few times.
Yeah.
Any favorite vegan restaurants out here?
It's funny. My uncle actually lives here in Portland, and he runs Grace Power and Fitness. It's like workout equipment, stuff like that. But so every time we're in town, he comes and takes us all out to dinner. So we're always kind of at the mercy of wherever he wants to go and whatever he's feeling. So I've thus gotten to eat at a lot of different places here in Portland. I remember one time he took us someplace where there was belly dancers like by your table while you were eating. But so yeah, it's always good times here.
Do you recall any vegan places now?
No, none of them were specifically vegan places. Unfortunately,
yeah,
they all had a couple vegan things on the menu.
Yeah, right.
I mean, for me, the most important lesson that I ever got out of punk rock, and still hold on to this day, is just to think for yourself. Make your own decisions. Hey, this is Tom from Against Me, and you're watching BlankTV, dangerous music for dangerous people.
Anarchist.